Hey guys, I'm Matt Gilman with Influence Music, and I just want to take you through, for the next couple minutes, a devotional around the song Stronger. In the human experience, we go through this thing that we call suffering. And one of the gravest mistakes we can make in the midst of seasons of suffering is to try to fix everything on our own. I know personally, I went through a season a few years ago where I was going through just a time of really intense suffering and struggle, and there was just a lot in my life that wasn't going well. And I was angry at God, I was angry at people, and because I was angry at the Lord, I ran from Him, and I didn't allow Him to come and intervene in the way that He probably would have wanted to. But I realized through that season that if we try to do things in our own strength, if we try to do it by ourselves with our own ideas, it usually doesn't end up in the way it's supposed to end up. And as I was processing through on the other side of the season, I was processing about Paul when he said that there was this thorn in his flesh, and he said, I was pleading with the Lord to take away this thorn in my flesh. And I was kind of astounded by God's response to him. And God didn't say He was going to take away the thorn. In fact, He actually said, you're going to keep the thorn. But He said, my grace is sufficient for you in the midst of that season, in the midst of that suffering. It's 2 Corinthians 12. Starting at verse 9, it says, He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, and my strength is made perfect in weakness. And Paul then says, therefore I will gladly boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest in me. He said, I will gladly boast in my infirmities, meaning I'll rejoice in the seasons of suffering, because I know that when I'm weak, God gets to show off and show His strength for me. And so what I would encourage you to do, even as you listen to the song Stronger, and maybe if you're in a season of pain or struggle, or you need a miracle in your life, I just want to encourage you, surrender that to the Lord. Even though it may not be fun, it may be difficult to do, surrender that to Him. Let Him actually show off His strength in the midst of this weak and dark and broken season that you're in. And I promise you, He will always come through for you, and He has your best interest in His heart. And He always turns everything that the enemy meant for evil for good, for your favor, for your good. So would you just pray with me for a moment as we close this devotional? Jesus, I thank You that Your grace is sufficient for us, even in the midst of our weakness, Lord. I thank You that it's in our weakness that Your strength is made perfect, and it's in our frailty and our brokenness that Your glory can shine through. And so, Lord, I pray for all of those listening right now, if they're in a season of darkness or pain or brokenness, I ask that You would show up as God, their defender, and that You would turn things around for their good and for their favor. So Jesus, I thank You for Your goodness, for Your faithfulness, and for Your favor in all of our lives. And we just surrender everything to You, knowing that Your ways are better and Your thoughts are higher. In Your beautiful name, amen. God bless you guys. I hope you enjoy the song Stronger.